Well, I put together these kits for you, so let's unpack it and I'll explain what all's inside. So, inside each box is your actual electrical kit, and then I got two 9-volt batteries for you, which is what we're going to use for our power sources. Um, these two should be plenty to make it through the whole course. If you leave a circuit hooked up for a long time, especially depending on what size resistances there are in the circuits, we may wear these out. So two of them should be enough, but just like all batteries, we can wear them out, and there aren't any booster packs here, so we're going to have to buy some more batteries. Inside the kit, the first thing on top is a plastic bag that is full of resistors. These resistors have designations on them. We're using the 5-band resistor style, which is the blue one down on the bottom. And then the chart above will help you decipher what all those different colors actually mean. I added a link on the website that will bring you to a calculator that you can just plug the colors into, and it'll give you what the resistance value of that resistor should be. Also, on each one of these resistors, the very top, let's see if I can make this focus, you'll see a number. So this kit was put together by, I think, children in China, so a K and an R look a whole lot like one another. So make sure that you're paying attention to what's what. I always will go and remeasure this with my meter before I put it into a circuit, just in case. But if you're feeling lucky, then go for it. Then you can see the little resistors here as well. The light's not really working out that well for us, but you can see the resistors there and the colors themselves. These are going to be incredibly important as we're going along, because these delicate electronic circuits can't handle very much current flow. We're talking milliamps, so like 0.02 amps is a whole bunch for one of these circuits. So these are going to be what help limit our current flow, and they'll also work to make our circuits act in different ways as we get a little bit further along. You've also got a whole bunch of different types of wires. This is going to be what hooks up to your 9-volt battery, and then will end up being a power supply for our breadboard. This breadboard is going to let us do electronic Legos, where we can just plug these components right into the little slots in there. And I've got a tutorial on the website that really does a nice job breaking down how this whole thing works, so I'm not going to spend that time now, but this is what we're going to build all of our circuits on. A couple of jumper wires, because as you're going along, some of the components may not be able to plug into that breadboard, or you may just want to test some things off of the breadboard. These will make that pretty helpful. A bunch of light emitting diodes, LEDs. We'll get into that in week 2. And then this thing is full of all kinds of fun little bits and pieces. Anything that looks like this is a capacitor. Any of these barrels. So this is a pretty big one. This one's smaller, so it has less capacitance. We've also got small momentary contact switches. So click, click. And you'll see on the bottom there are 4 prongs. The way that these work is, I'm going to use my capacitor as a pointer. The way that this works is when you push the button, it'll connect this prong to this one, and if I flip it around, it'll also connect this prong to this one. So this switch could actually turn on or off 2 circuits at the same exact time. These little dudes, looks like an Advil, don't take it. This is also a capacitor, very, very small. We probably won't be using any of these. You've got a diode. This will only allow current to flow in one direction. My camera is bad at focusing. Let's see if I can make it focus better. So there's your diode right there. It'll have a stripe on it. That stripe will help us figure out which way current is allowed to flow once we get to that point. Here's an on-off switch. Click. Hey, it's on all the time. Now it's not on all the time. The way that this works is the input, my trusty pointer, the input is in the middle, and then depending on which way the switch is, see how the switch is to the right, it'll connect the middle to the right. Make the switch go to the left, middle to the left. Rocket science, I know. The next piece is one of these guys. So this is a transistor. See, we have 3 legs. When we get to the time to talk about transistors, we will. It's like an electronic relay. We're going to use a really small current to allow a larger one to work. This is the little switches inside the computers that allow the computer to turn on lights and make the windows go up and down and all that kind of stuff. And then moving on to the next bag. This one we're not going to get into for quite some time. It's got a relay inside of it. You've got some integrated circuits, which are these black little bug looking guys. We will end up using this 555 one. It's a timer. We'll make some lights go blinky. Here's an LCD display, so we can make numbers and some basic letters. Like, think about like your first calculator. These are potentiometers. You could think of kind of like a dimmer switch or a throttle position switch, something like that. The resistance will change as we spin the knob back and forth. A photo transistor, or a photo chip actually, excuse me. This with the metal clip on the top is a voltage regulator. So this one's set up to regulate any voltage above 5 volts down to 5 volts. So our 9-volt battery, if we wanted a 5-volt supply, which is what a lot of sensors and computers use, we'll use that to step it down, and that'll be a nice clean voltage. And then right above the LCD on this one, and then some of your kits it might be in slightly different places, there's one transistor in this kit that's different from all the ones that's inside that other bag. Keep that in this kit so it's easier to find. If you lose it or it gets mixed in with all the other ones, we'll still be able to figure it out, but you're gonna have to hunt for it for a little while. It's got numbers written on it, so worst case scenario, we'll still be able to figure out what it is. And then the last 2 things are a couple of buzzers. One of them buzzes, and the other one picks up stuff when there's buzzing or noise going on nearby. All right, there is one last thing. Here it is. This is a photoresistor, and we'll be using this for sure. There's only one of them in there, so don't lose it. This photoresistor, it will change its resistance value based off of how much light is present. All right, and we're going to use all these things to do all of our lab activities in the coming weeks. And so make sure you keep everything together. The resistors are going to be probably the hardest thing to keep together. Some people like to find separate bags and put each type of resistor in a different bag. That way when you take your circuit apart and you go to build the one for the next week, it'll be easier to find them. Some people, once you take it out of this piece of tape, you can actually put it back into the piece of tape again, as long as you don't smush the little spot together where it was. But you're all adults, I'm sure you'll figure something out as you go along. Okay, and that is our kit.